All right, guys, welcome back to the Stat Chat podcast. We bring the stats, they bring the fandom. This is Jacob, that's Wyatt. Here we are. NFL free agency has kicked off. The combine's come and gone. We're going to dive in to takes, topics, and things we love to speak about the NFL off season. Let's go. First off, we're going to start it off with what I like to call Vegas jackpot roster reset. The Raiders entered this week with a league-leading $112 million in cap space and a clear mandate from new head coach Clint Kubiak: get younger, get faster, and get tougher in the trenches. They kicked that off by trading Max Crosby to the Baltimore Ravens for 2 first-round picks. One this year, one next year. Or so we thought. Adam Schefter just reported the trade's null and void. Ravens backed out. And Max Crosby is, for now, still a Las Vegas Raider. What do you think about that, bro?
So we don't know the details of why this happened yet. I'm thinking it's got to be a failed physical. There's no reason you back out of a trade this big after a day or two. But I think you got to send Max Crosby off to a different team. You can't just expect him to come back and just want to play with the same team.
I don't know, bro. After the haul they just did in the free agency, he's probably like, maybe I am a Raider forever. He said he wanted to be a Raider for life.
That defense could be crazy. I mean, you say everything they added, of course, and then you add Kubiak, and you're going to add Fernando Mendoza on top of it. The only thing I'm questionable about is, as good as a turnaround this is, you just happen to be in the hardest division of football, probably.
They do happen to be, and arguably the hardest division of football, definitely the hardest division in the AFC West. I mean, the AFC, right? The AFC West. It's a juggernaut there. But with these moves in the offseason, a Mendoza under a Kubiak, you actually have a line now with the addition of Tyler Linderbaum. They signed him to a 3-year, $81 million deal. Blockbuster deal for a center, right?
Yeah. And then you bring in Quay Walker and Nakobe Dean to solidify the linebacker spots.
You solidify the linebacker spots. You're a sideline-to-sideline defense is what you're setting. You re-sign Eric Stokes. You potentially are keeping Max Crosby now. We don't know. That's up in the wind, right?
And that's after paying Kwity Paye to another solid guy to have on the other side.
Kwity Paye, he's not Max Crosby, but he's a younger guy with high upside and a disruptor from Indianapolis.
And then if you do keep Max Crosby on that other edge, you got to imagine something's going to open up for Kwity Paye on that
Exactly. So if they did keep Max Crosby, what are you thinking? They just restructure the contract, big signing, convert it to a signing bonus?
Definitely. Yeah. You have to, just to be able to keep everyone you just signed and then still have some money to spend. And you got to take that cap hit for the number 1 pick too.
True. Big cap pick for that number 1 pick. And so you're no longer going to have the pick 14 from the Ravens.
Right.
What team could you see sliding in here and potentially, if Max Crosby does not stay with the Raiders, what team could slide in here and grab him?
The only other team, well, there's 2 I have in mind, but the one I think that's going to eventually try to make that move is the Dallas Cowboys.
The Dallas Cowboys.
They were the only other team that we had heard reports of that were aggressively pursuing Max Crosby. They offered a second instead of the multiple first-round picks. That's why they ultimately went with the Ravens.
Right.
But you got to think, with this just being back open, the Cowboys still have all that cap they opened up, and they haven't really spent any of it.
I feel like if anybody could mess this up, though, it would be Jerry Jones. He offered the first and the second, right?
Right.
To get him originally, but now, since that trade fell through, Jerry Jones could probably be like, nah, I'm not even going to give you the second, just because of pride and ego thing, that there's a chance now to double down and get Crosby. And Jerry Jones, being a master negotiator, could mess it up.
A team I could see sliding in there to try to make a move is Chicago Bears.
Chicago, if you're going all in, yes, you're going all in for sure. I would like to see Max Crosby in Chicago. Honestly, I'm not going to lie, I'm not a Cowboys fan, but him being in a Cowboys uniform would be legit.
Or we heard Jamar Chase on that Twitch stream talking about when Crosby got traded. Now that he's available again, one of Chase and Burrow go up to the front office. They're like, look, we need to make a move. Bring Crosby over.
They're going to be like, nah, we're good. Cincinnati has a horrible front office, dude. They haven't made any moves to support that offense at all.
Yeah.
They're not going to. They're letting one guy go who's not on the level, but production-wise has done more than Max Crosby has, right?
Yeah.
They're letting him go. Why would they sign Crosby? So let's dive back into this Vegas jackpot roster reset. So Mendoza's kind of set up here. The Raiders go get Tyler Linderbaum, a great center, who's going to help run that zone offense for Clint Kubiak, right? On top of that, you have Jackson Power Johnson, who I think is going to transition into like a guard.
That's what I was
thinking. Because I don't see, he hasn't been moved.
No.
It could happen up around draft time, but probably going to move over to a guard. And you also have Colton Miller, the left tackle, solidified left tackle, right? And Rodgers as well. They have
Right.
a pretty good unit now.
Yeah, the line's looking a lot more solid. Really with this line, and then actually bring in a quarterback who's not going to throw the ball to the other team twice a game. That offense, and especially with a guy like Kubiak as the head coach, definitely could take that next step. And Ashton Genty should take a huge step.
Ashton Genty will probably take a monumental step this next season. We didn't get to see exactly what we wanted to see from him last year. We did saw some bursts, especially some impressive ones against like a defense like the Texans. We saw some things we wanted to see, but he needs a better O-line. He needs a better scheme to run behind, and I feel like it's a perfect fit overall, overall for the team offensively. And then they're going to transition to a 3-4 scheme under defensive coordinator Rob Leonard. So they signed these three major pieces, right? They signed Quay Walker. He's known for his sideline-to-sideline speed. They signed Kobe Dean. He's a high IQ leader who was brought in kind of to replace the soul that was lost when you're losing Crosby in the trade. Now that's pending now, but still. Then you bring in Kwity Paye. He's like a younger version of Max Crosby, not as powerful, I would say, but still a great piece.
Yeah, then just it's crazy. We're doing this in real time as we just find out the Max Crosby thing falls through, and you're looking at all these moves, and now you're looking at it with Crosby on that defense too, and you're like, oh my gosh.
It's something you do in Madden when you load it up, and it shouldn't be realistic.
When we do, we get done Sundays, we're chilling after the games, and me and you hop on a Madden rebuild, and we're thinking, what should we do?
I'm looking at you like, bro, that's not realistic.
It don't sound too crazy.
It don't sound too crazy now. So the Raiders, they're primed, man. Are the Raiders back? Is Mendoza poised to take this team? And we're seeing these teams loading up in offseason and making a quick turnaround. I'm not going to say they're going to make a playoff berth, but they could be a fringe playoff team.
They definitely have the pieces. I won't say they're like what they're going to do what the Patriots did this year, but I could see them making a jump, especially what we've seen with first-year head coaches and a guy like Kubiak, being so smart, coming off a Super Bowl too. They definitely are going to take a big step. I expect them to be probably around 8 wins this year.
7, 8 wins. That's kind of where I got them. All right, so you said the Cowboys could be a big suitor for Crosby potentially moving forward. Let's talk about the Cowboys. This next segment is called Star Power and Salary Caps. The Cowboys entered the offseason $56 million over the cap, but through a series of financial gymnastics, they cleared enough space to become one of the most aggressive teams in the trade and free agency market. How did they do this, Wyatt?
They do this every year. I feel like we hear they make moves, they move contracts around, they restructure moves because they're going to make a big free agency splash. And then that big free agency splash is bringing back an old fat Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, it's just all talk. It's always what we hear with the Cowboys. They'll make some trades, but then they'll open up cap space for free agency, and then they make
There's never a big name
There's
that
never
comes,
a big
right.
move in free agents.
I liked a couple of the moves they did make, though. They brought in Jalen Thompson from the Cardinals, who reunites with their new defensive back coach, or the secondary coach, Ryan Smith. They also signed P.J. Locke, who's an underrated safety as well. So they've kind of fixed as good as you can for the Cowboys, their safety room, And the Rashawn Gary trade is such an underrated trade.
Yeah.
You have a whole interior now of the ex-Green Bay Packers that are now going to solidify that interior. And they also have who's the guy they had we were high on? I can't even remember because he's kind of like a memory now.
Sam Williams?
No, they did re-sign Sam Williams, but it was the original defensive tackle that they just re-signed a couple years ago. Odigizua, is it him?
Odigizua. Osa Diggsy.
Yeah. So you have him as well. So depth in the interior, along with the Ezraku.
And you got
Sam Williams.
Quinnen Williams. Kenny Clark.
Wow. They really just need a linebacker in the draft to me.
Get an edge rusher.
Or an edge. I mean, I like Ezraku. I think Ezraku is going to take a big jump. So realistically, I think the Cowboys have had a pretty solid free agency. They didn't do too much, but I would like to see a home run swing at least.
To add a Crosby or something.
To add a Crosby or a Hendrickson or something like that.
Hendrickson's still sitting there to me.
He's still
crazy.
sitting there. It's crazy.
The number one free agent, he's sitting there in day 2 when everyone else has been making big
Apparently
moves.
he wants a lot of money, and Cincinnati wasn't the only team that's kind of lowballing him.
Man, there's a couple of teams that if I'm these teams, I'm paying him and I'm making that big jump.
Yeah, especially if you're a fringe team,
Right.
Like
or you're
Bears.
a team that's been to the playoffs a couple years and you're just lacking that next step. Maybe like the Chargers.
The Chargers could use him. They lost Bosa, and Joey Bosa ended up being a pretty good piece for the Bills last year.
Right.
I thought he was towards the end of his career, but he still has a little bit.
They re-signed Khalil
left in the
Mack,
tank.
but then you lose Oweh.
You lose Oweh. Speaking of Oweh, man, next segment we're gonna jump into is the $100 million edge rush, and a couple guys here got paid this free agency. And when I say paid, we're talking about, like I said, $100 million. We're talking about Odafe Owe. The Commanders broke down his massive 4-year, $100 million deal, and Washington's betting big that he's a cornerstone on their new look defensively. So Owe, he comes over from Los Angeles. He balls out last year, and now the Commanders are looking at him like a big premier pass rusher. What do you think about that massive of a contract signing for him?
I didn't think you should pay a guy that much that you only saw perform that at that much of a level half a season.
Half a season, right?
You haven't even seen a full 18-game stretch of what he can do, and then you dump $100 million into.
Yeah, I mean, they had to see something there that we're not seeing. You know, coaches know more, coaches talk, GMs talk.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It was very impressive what he did with the Chargers, jumping onto that and then absolutely killing it, looking like one of the best trades at the deadline.
Right. And not to mention, though, I mean, the market's that's just a reality of the market, I guess, because we saw Milton Williams last year get, $97 million?
Josh Sweat got
a lot. So I guess that's the reality of the market, $25 million when guys like Myles Garrett are getting 40.
Yeah.
So maybe that's correct. Maybe that's accurate. And then you have Jalen Phillips. The Panthers signed him to a record-breaking $120 million. Was it a 4-year?
Talk about a team that might have won free agency. Let's talk about the Panthers. They added Devin Lloyd last night, too.
Devin Lloyd, Jalen Phillips. You already had a great secondary. Yeah. You have Derek Brown solidifying the middle. And they just re-signed, I think, a few hours ago, Isaiah Simmons, who's played really well for them.
He did play really well for them, which we were high on Isaiah Simmons for so long, but at some point you got to kind of give it up. But then what he was able to do from starting with the special teams unit and then progressing back into a defensive role with them was really big for them at the end of last season, too.
Yeah. I don't like that they let Rico Dowdle go, especially after that great year. But I get it. You can't keep everybody. And Chuba Hubbard is a serviceable back. You just need a good guy, a good second-string guy who can come in and take some pressure off of him. Rico Dowdle and Michael Pittman are now Pittsburgh Steelers. That's
some good moves made by the Steelers, some underrated moves. I'm waiting to see what they do at quarterback. Maybe it's a Kyler, maybe it's a Kirk Cousins. We're yet to see. Maybe they roll with Will Howard, or maybe Aaron Rodgers comes back.
I think Rodgers is probably going to come back. I think Michael Pittman is like a key signing, so that's an Aaron Rodgers signing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Very like the Lazard type that he always kept with him all over the years.
Exactly. A team I really want to talk about is the New York Jets. Man, I've been to that stadium. I was like, I don't know why beforehand. I was like, why do people love the Jets so much? And then being around the fans and everything, it's like, I get it. I get why New Yorkers, New Jersey people like the Jets. The flight back, Jets full circle free agency. Look, Jets entered this window with over $74 million in cap space and a clear mission. Find a leader for the locker room and fix a pass defense that famously recorded 0 interceptions last year. And look, the prodigal son returns. The Jets sent a 2026 6th-round pick to Las Vegas in exchange for Geno Smith and a 2026 7th-rounder. What do you think about Geno probably going to be the starting quarterback for the New York Jets?
I think Aaron Glenn heard the wrong thing and heard no interceptions, was like, yeah, let's bring in Geno Smith. He throws plenty of them.
The problem is your quarterback can't throw them to your team in real game, right? But
the moves they make on defense are huge. But yeah, it looks like Geno's getting another starting job, and it's with the Jets.
I think they're just looking for a veteran presence here because what they did defensively was amazing, very understated. And maybe we'll finally see what Aaron Glenn was trying to accomplish last year with these guys that he brings in. Jets signed veteran linebacker Demario Davis to a 2-year, $22 million deal. He's replacing the outgoing Quincy Williams. Demario Davis, I think he's 37, 38, guy from Arkansas State. Always loved the tenacity he plays with the Saints. He does not play his age, and I think he's going to set the tone on that defense for sure.
Getting on a $22 million deal, I mean, that's a pretty good deal for a guy like that.
For a real all-pro baller. You know what I mean? And they also shocked the league by trading a 2026 7th-round pick to the Dolphins for Minkah Fitzpatrick.
What are the Dolphins doing?
I
know we're talking about the Jets right now, but I don't know what the Dolphins are doing. They're releasing Hill, trading Minkah, releasing Tua.
They're cleaning house, man. I think Jeff Hatley is doing a culture reset, and I don't blame him for that because the culture was bad there. You got to get the guys that really were upsetting what you're trying to build gone, regardless of what it is,
Right.
Same way, Adam Gase kind of did with Jamal Adams years back, right? And then the smart thing is they re-signed him immediately to a 3-year, $40 million deal. Make Minkah happy. Make him want to play. Make him also want to lead that defense along with Demario Davis. I like that.
And we've seen, different safeties explode under Aaron Glenn.
Exactly. And then they also paired him with Dane Belton, who signed for 1 year, $6 million.
And
nice little signing.
I was sad to see him go as a Giants fan.
Yeah.
Man. Just like a I think if you talk to a lot of Giants fans, one of the most underrated players will tell you was Dane Belton.
And just a good presence, a good consistent player.
Love that guy.
You know what I mean?
Man.
On your defense.
Sad to see him go to the other side of the locker room.
But look, they didn't stop at the secondary. They added 2 ascending pass rushers, replaced production loss of Hassan Reddick. Joseph, I'm probably gonna butcher his last name, Osayan, 3 years, $36 million. And Kingsley, I'm gonna butcher this too, Ending Barre, 1 year, $10 million. Both players are 26 years old, and it's a clear shift towards a high motor, young talent defensive line on top of trading for T'Vondre Sweat earlier this offseason.
Yeah, man. It looks like Aaron Glenn's really going all in on what he knows, and that's the defense.
Yeah.
And he wants to build the culture of, our defense is going to set the tone, and we just need an offense to keep us in the game. And I think bringing in a veteran like Geno could actually be a step up from maybe a Justin Fields.
Yeah, I do too, just because in certain moments, if your defense is going to keep you in games, you'll be able not to lose those games probably, right? Now, you are letting go of Elijah Vera Tucker, but with the injury history, I understand it. I understand the move, and they've been notoriously good at drafting O-line, so we'll probably see that again.
Yeah, they have a solid O-line already rolling into this year.
The guy they drafted last year, Mumbu, he was a stud.
And then I'm really curious to see what they do with that second overall pick.
The second overall pick, I think you're going to go edge rusher, most likely. It's going to be too high if you have Breece Hall, so you're not going running back, even though that's insanely high for a running back. Even though Jeremiah Love's probably worth it. If we look back in 3 years, he's probably going to be worth that pick. I have no idea. Arvell Reese probably is what I'm seeing.
They go Bailey.
You think they go Bailey? David Bailey, he's a freak. I could see that as well. There's not a lineman, I think, who's worthy of a top 5 pick. Offensive lineman.
Not this year. Definitely not this year.
And you have Garrett Wilson.
You have Breece Hall.
You have Breece Hall. You have Adonai Mitchell, who looked promising towards the end.
He did look promising towards the end of last
year.
So
I think you kind of just double down on your defense like you've been doing. Maybe you take a Ty Simpson later if he's there.
I think with that second pick, you take a Kenyon Sadiq.
Give
him that safety.
You don't like the
blanket.
Mason. I like Mason.
I don't.
Mason Thomas.
Yeah, but then look at Kenyon Sadiq. You can see there's definitely going to be a big skill gap.
Yeah, but for the value, I mean, and what you need, I think the production can be there. Give him another year to grow. If there's probably another hole you can fill there. So we'll see though. Jets they got promising potential moving forward.
Definitely a team I'm going to pay attention to.
I'm excited if I'm a Jets fan, excited as I can be, you know, right? Especially with the offseason. Let's jump into the biggest winners of free agency. And let's start it off with none other than, we talked about it earlier, Alec Pierce, man. Now, we didn't see him re-signing with the Colts. We didn't see Michael Pittman getting traded, that being the reason, right?
Right.
Alex Pierce re-signed with the Colts for a massive 4-year, $114 million deal, maxing out at $116 million with $84 million in total guarantees. He's now being paid like a top-tier wide receiver, and he is now wide receiver 1 in Indianapolis.
Yeah, I think it was a great signing. I've heard both sides. I've heard some guys saying, why do you pay an Alec Pierce that much money? And I'm like, well, what other receiver has got 40 catches and 1,000 yards?
Right. I mean, honestly, the production was insane, and now he's asking. He wanted to stay, obviously, and he's asking, hey, make me your number 1 guy. Pay me like one. I'll show you what I can do.
Turned down over $130 million from the Commanders just to come back to the Colts.
To come back. The Colts are a good organization. I understand why. You know, and Shane Steichen's a great head coach. So I don't blame him at all. And let's jump into, something was foreshadowed at the Super Bowl parade. John Snyder, the Seattle Seahawks GM, is like, he just asked me for a raise or whatever he said, and Kenneth
he's trying to get an extension right now,
and
5 minutes ago.
And Kenneth Walker's like, really? And I think that was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I think we're good. We're not going back. That tells you right there. And if you ever need proof that the running backs don't matter era is ending, look at what happened in Kansas City. The Chiefs signed Super Bowl 60 MVP, Kenneth Walker to a 3-year, $43.5 million contract worth up to $45 million. Big win right here for Kansas City. Not really something I wanted to see, but very smart move.
First time 2 Super Bowl MVPs are going to be in the same backfield since Emmitt Smith and Troy Aikman.
Ooh, what a stat there.
Yeah.
I like that.
So definitely going to be big things expected out of Kansas City with them coming back. You don't know how many games Mahomes is going to miss, so you got to assume they're going to do something at that backup quarterback spot, as you saw yesterday losing a Gardner Minshew to the Cardinals.
Right.
So I'm curious to see what they do maybe with that backup spot to keep them, just above water for the first maybe 4 to 6 games, depending on when Mahomes comes back. But when you get Mahomes back, and then you're going to have Kenneth Walker back there, I think you can depend on Kenneth Walker while Mahomes is gone to build a strong running game to build your offense off of. And then when you add Mahomes back into that offense, we're going to see big things from that offense.
Yeah, 100%. They're going to be able to rely on the run game more. I like the move schematically for them, and I think it's time for an identity shift, especially with Kelsey basically phasing out. They let go of Pacheco. Pacheco's with the Lions now.
I don't think they're done making.
No, I don't think so
I
either.
think we're going to see a Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill coming back.
Coming pretty soon.
Something like that, yeah.
And get some more explosiveness back in that offense.
They re-signed Tyquan Thornton, which I thought was a great re-signing. Like, he was so explosive.
That's the guy I was hoping we would go get. So
the Giants would go get. That would have been a great signing. Speaking of the Giants, dude, in a scheme steal, Isaiah Likely signed to the New York Giants for a 3-year, $40 million contract. Now it can reach up to 47.5 with incentives. Look, he spent years in Baltimore proving he was a starter-level talent trapped behind Mark Andrews. His contract makes him the third highest paid tight end in the league, and he gets to reconnect with John Harbaugh, becomes a primary weapon for Jackson Dart.
Man, I'm excited. As much as Theo Johnson was starting to grow on me, you have a more reliable guy there with Isaiah Likely now. And as much as you saw Dart target that tight end so as much as he did, adding a Likely, man, I was excited.
Yeah, I can imagine, dude. That's a real tight end talent that's shown great ability to find the ball and find the end zone, right?
Right.
As we were talking about it, it was like the John Harbaugh talk old boy and the GM into re-signing Mark Andrews,
knowing he's on the hot seat.
Knowing he was on the hot seat, like, hey, because he's kind of like brought a couple guys with him, right? The punter as well. Same way Dayball's pulling guys from New York to Tennessee, right?
Just signed a 6-time Pro Bowler from the Ravens.
Oh, that's right.
Pat Ricard.
Pat Ricard, baby. You are a New York Giant.
And we're going to have, wait till we get into an I form with Scat and Pat back there.
That's hilarious. That'd be a couple white boys just
train wrecking Dart.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. CTE times 3, bro.
My favorite signing we made was Tremaine Edmonds.
Tremaine Edmonds?
Love that pickup for us. You've always seen high-level middle linebackers on every Harbaugh team. Ray Lewis, C.J. Mosley, Roquan Smith. And is that going to be Tremaine Edmonds, or is that going to roll into a Tremaine and Sonny Styles?
I don't know what y'all are going to do now, dude, because you got Tremaine. You don't need an edge rusher.
We picked up Washington.
I can see y'all going
safety.
Corner here or like a freak like Sonny Styles, either or. Y'all do need a corner. Y'all need a true corner. I know y'all got Greg Newsome, great pickup.
Yeah.
But y'all need a true corner for sure. Speaking of cornerbacks, dude, the Eagles do what the Eagles do. They get to sign Tariq Woolen to a 1 year, I think $15 million.
$15 million.
And that's crazy, man. They lose Reed Blankenship to the Texans. Shout out Texans. But they go get Tariq Woolen, who's played that safety hybrid spot and corner spot. Just a great pickup by the Eagles. They do what they do, and they get a great guy here.
Yeah, they do what they do. The Eagles are going to draft the best player available and make everyone look stupid for it. They're going to sign they're going to go make the biggest move in free agency, or they're going to go make a big trade.
Yeah. I really do love the pickup. It fits schematically. And now arguably, not even arguably, you have the best cornerback trio. in the league, 100%, with one of them. Actually, DeJean, if you wanted to, too, can play safety as well. So you have guys who can move around depending on who you're facing, right? Better matchups. Secondary in Philadelphia is going to be nasty to watch. All right, next segment, bro. I want to move into quarterback carousel. Project or pro? This year's free agency has seen a massive shift in how teams view the quarterback market. No surprise, Miami Dolphins signed Malik Willis to a 3-year, $67.5 million deal, right? It's a huge bet on the upside for a team that previously leaned on accuracy over athleticism. Willis gets to join Jeff Hatley in South Beach. How do you feel about that?
So at first, I was questionable about it. I'm saying, why do you pay a guy that we've only seen a little bit from? But what we have seen has been promising. It's been good.
Right.
But then I started to think about it a little bit more, and I think it was Peter Schrager talk about it. And he said, who would know better on how good Malik Willis is than the guy whose starting defense had to go against him every day in practice?
Yeah, that's a great point.
He knows how the defense has to play a guy like that. And then you see Malik Willis jump into that starting role and pick up some huge wins when you're without Jordan Love. So the way I'm looking at it now is, if anyone knows how good Malik Willis is or how good he can be, it's Jeff Hatley.
And not to mention the first 10 to 15 games this next year, teams aren't going to know how to play this guy.
No.
There's going to be the surprise factor like you see with rookies who catch the league by surprise, where we're going to see a lot of as long as there's stability there in that offense, we're going to see a lot of good things from Malik Willis this next year. I like it. I think he fits the Miami.
And there's still weapons there. I mean, we talked about them losing Tyreek, but you still have Waddle. You still have A-Chain. You bring back Waller, who looked amazing for you last year.
I think he definitely fits this speed style offense way better than Tua does, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't have a stronger arm, and he's way more mobile. And he has a big old head, so we ain't got to worry about concussions, bro. Like,
Yeah.
hella padding with that hair.
He'll be all right.
Speaking of Tua Tagovailoa, Atlanta Falcons signed Tua Tagovailoa to a 1-year deal. 1-year deal. Is Tua there to start or just mentor cover for Michael Penix while he recovers from the ACL injury?
So you bring in an injury-prone quarterback to mentor or play backup for another injury-prone quarterback.
Wow.
That also can't throw the ball down the field.
All the meanwhile, you're paying a guy $100 million to watch both of them.
I don't understand this. And then you release Kirk Cousins, who, in my opinion, is the best quarterback that would have been on that roster.
Yeah, honestly.
And now
Kirk was looking nice at the end of the year.
Man, and now you're going to run basically a retirement home back there when it comes to athleticism and the ability to stay on the field. 2 left-handed quarterbacks can't throw the ball down the field, and you're going to be hobbling on and off of
and
it.
then you get the whole
frequently.
James Pierce fiasco. Atlanta's like, you've seen the meme, Atlanta, the garbage truck meme. Atlanta in the free agency, garbage man running off the truck.
Man,
garbage.
that was the team we were so high on, seeing what they were
Yeah.
going to do, and then they just do.
Well, I got faith in
this.
Kevin Stefanski, but I just don't understand really what's going on now.
Man.
Maybe they're going to be a team that is looking to make a quarterback draft. I don't know. There's no telling. Stefanski didn't draft either one of these guys. Yeah, I know he has a say in getting to it, but like he might want to pick up a guy like a Taylor Green or something like that.
Right. A guy that's big athleticism.
Project guy.
Drew Aller.
Mm-hmm.
Big arm,
Exactly.
big different guy. But one thing I will say that Tua will do is throw the ball to the running back. We saw it with A-Chain. Bijan, #1 in fantasy next year.
Yeah,
He's going to eat.
Facts. Bijan will eat.
Oh my
and he loves the tight
gosh.
ends too. We saw the Waller connection.
Yeah, so Kyle Pitts, maybe definitely keep taking the Kyle Pitts this year.
Atlanta, I'm not excited to see what you're going to do. I've definitely got the Panthers coming out winning that division.
Yeah, well, the last episode, we had talked about buying the Falcons winning that division.
Yeah.
And then they do that.
All right, buddy, we're going to move into some of our favorite segments here. Buy or sell. I'm going to let you kick it off with the buy or sell segment.
All right. Buy or sell, my favorite segment we do every episode. And I got some good ones today. My first one's going to be Giants to win the NFC East.
Giants to win the NFC East.
So let me give you a little bit more explaining. I put this before Tariq Woolen signed with the Eagles in my defense. Every other team in our division does not on an upward trajectory. We already saw a big fall off from the Commanders. We have all the drama with the Eagles. And then the Cowboys, well, they're the Cowboys. But the Giants, we have the best head coach in that division now, in my opinion. We have the young and most promising team by far. And then we have an edge duo, a D-line of Abdul Carter, Brian Burns, and Dexter Lawrence.
Why I love everything y'all have done, and I love the John Harbaugh addition at head coach. Maybe I'm underestimating a little bit. I just have to see how it all meshes. I'm going to sell this one.
Okay.
Ask me in a year from now, I'm buying all day.
Okay. I'm buying it. I'm buying it 100%. I think we win 11 games this year.
Okay. That's not
not crazy.
to say, but
yeah.
You had the Eagles, and if the Cowboys do what they're supposed to do, it's going to be a tight division.
Cowboys don't ever do what they're supposed
to. We'll see. You're right. We'll see.
Next one. Titans, they've made some big moves, made some pretty solid moves, I would say. They got some picks ahead of them, like pretty good picks. Add Robert Saleh, you get a day ball at OC. Are you buying or selling them winning 8 or more games?
I think the Titans are going to be a very hard team to play, and I think I'm going to buy that. I think the Titans win 8 to 10 games this year.
I do too, especially I think that division's not going to be as strong as it was last year. So I think it's definitely a year where we could see them have a bigger season.
Okay.
Buying or selling 5 teams that didn't make the playoffs last year to make it this year. Let me throw some teams out there to help kind of refresh your memory. Lions, Chiefs, Ravens, Falcons, Bucks, Giants, Cowboys, just to name a couple.
I'm buying that all day. I wouldn't be surprised if there's 7 teams.
Yeah.
That make, it was a crazy year last year, the way stuff played out. So I'm going to buy that all day. I'd put stock in that.
Ashton Genty, we talked about how he's going to have a big year earlier. Are you buying or selling him to finish with 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns?
I'm buying that all day. Now, unlike Kenneth Walker in that scheme, where you had a Charbonnet doing 2.
Right.
Taking some of the heavy load off. I think a younger Ashton Genty who's ready to take on that, at least in the early years, I could see him being an 1,200-yard rusher, a 10 to 14 touchdown guy. Are we talking total touchdowns or just rushing?
Rushing.
Rushing, 10 touchdown. I'd say 8 to 10 touchdown guy. rushing and 11 to 1,200 yard rushing.
I'm buying that all day.
Yeah,
With
for
that
sure.
Kubiak offense, that offensive line restructure they have, I'm definitely buying. Last one, Kyler Murray to the Vikings. We haven't talked about the Vikings. Their obvious QB problems with 9. And then Kyler Murray just sitting out there. I think it would be a perfect fit. And O'Connell could really have that offense really rolling with him.
I'm going to sell that all day. Would I be surprised if it happened? No, I just don't think he's a fit for the way they run that offense, honestly. And I don't think he is a, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess attitude or no, not attitude, maybe energy match, personality, personality match for Kevin O'Connell.
Too
You know
much
what I mean?
Call of Duty, not enough football.
Yeah, I think Kevin O'Connell likes a more traditional type of quarterback. You know, a mobile one would be nice, but more
Right.
traditional style guy.
Right. Some stat check crazy stat of the week. What I got 2 for you on basically just over the free agency. The Raiders and the Titans have set an NFL record for most combined guaranteed money spent on the first day in free agency, combining for over $280 million.
Wow. They saw what the Patriots did last year, and they're like, and Chicago, and they're like, let's do the same.
Yeah, except Brian Dable was like, let's hire all the guys that lost me games, and lost me my job. The Falcons will be the first team since 1990 to have 2 left-handed quarterbacks on the roster at the same time.
So who were the quarterbacks and what team in 1990?
It was the Cincinnati Bengals. It was Boomer Eisen,
Boomer Esiason, yeah.
and then a guy I've never heard of in my life.
Shout out to the 90s. Okay. Okay, cool stats. I love those stats, man. All right, guys, this has been a great episode of the Stat Chat podcast. Thank you for joining us. Follow on YouTube. Follow us on TikTok. Follow us on Twitter. Again, I'm Jacob. That's Wyatt. Appreciate you joining. Let's roll right into it. All right, you got a minute?